We're going to talk in the next few minutes about three major shifts that have changed the FDI competitive landscape and will change again the FDI global marketplace. The first shift, you know, and it's basically completed. And it's the shift from low-cost manufacturing in global supply chains to, an example from this week, China, with its overseas investment, expected to overtake its foreign direct investment in the next 3 years. I can give you a personal example as CEO of globalarena.com. When I met with the Ministry of Commerce recently from China, and we were discussing how they could use our technology to connect and match effectively with investors. And they were very interested to work with us how they could attract more investment into China. But they were even much more interested to look at our technology, to how we could make that available to Chinese investors in the Chinese language running on the China internet. So that Chinese companies, state-owned companies and privately owned companies could use our technology to target their foreign and outward investment to the right opportunities in the global economy. The second major shift is currently ongoing, and it's the shift from low-cost manufacturing to economies that are services and knowledge-based. So you see made in Brazil products transform into high-tech capabilities that are designed and made in Brazil. And we see this currently happening in many high-growth economies, where the economies is transforming to become a very productive environment in the knowledge economy. The next shift, the third shift, is about to start. And it's going to change the foreign direct investment landscape again, significantly. And the opportunity here for us this afternoon is to see, and that was also the objective of what we're going to show you later on, we're going to show you how you can benefit as an investor, as well as a business environment or an economy, what you can do and how you can benefit most from the third shift in foreign direct investment. And that's the shift that you could summarize by saying it's about talent supply, global talent supply. We're coming from an environment that is dominated demographically by male people in the local workforce. And we're going to an environment of young, highly talented, entrepreneurial people that I call the born globals. And what we will see happening, and what also one of our partners, PricewaterhouseCoopers, has recently surveyed in a global CEO survey, talent supply, global talent supply, is in the top 3 of priorities, but also concerns of almost all of the global CEOs. So if you can moderate your business environment, if you can shape your economic development policies and priorities in such a way that you can lead this transformation to the knowledge economy, if you can lead this transformation to environments that are most productive for entrepreneurship, for young people, for talented people, then you will most likely serve as the winners in this next wave of foreign direct investment change. So we see 2 shifts that are now going to happen. The first shift is from labor cost to service capabilities. And the second shift that we're watching is from production and services economies to global knowledge economies. Now, what we wanted to do for you as participants in the AIM conference is we wanted to use our comparative analysis technology, as well as our concept of what we call the business environment DNA analysis. We wanted to use those concepts to help you understand where your economy is today and what kind of leverage you could create, what kind of economic policies and developments you could create to make sure that you are best positioned to benefit first and to create most value for your economy out of the knowledge transformation. So what we decided to do is we looked at the countries attending at the AIM conference, and we made basically a selection of around 17 countries. So you see countries in South Africa, you see countries in the Arab world, you see Eurasian countries, you see countries from Asia, and you see some of the high growth as well as leading economies in Europe. And what we decided to do is to look at what kind of data, what kind of economic characteristics, what kind of demographic characteristics are relevant to the shift that is going to happen that we just mentioned. The shift to the knowledge economy and the shift from companies attracting global talents in confidence. We used 30 different data sources. And we selected specifically data sources that we believe are most relevant for this shift to global talent supply chains. So you see things like R&D expenditure, education, entrepreneurship, venture capital, brand value, logistics performance, financial centers. We looked at a lot of things, including a lot of indicators that have to do with human factors. When the assertion is that global talent supply will define the future success for foreign direct investment, then you must be attractive to human capital as well. That means people must voluntarily decide to move to your environment, to live there, to work there, to study there, to create economic success. So if you think back about the countries that you just saw, we had 17 countries, we have 30 data indicators. Now we wanted to model these shifts in foreign direct investment patterns that we have seen. Make sure is to create a comparable structure. So after the mathematical and statistical processing, all of the data indicators we use in your business environment DNA will look like this. Now why is that important? Because once the information and the data look like this on a global scale, you can do effective matching, you can do targeted acquisition of investors, you can do much more focused marketing and communication to investors, and you are much better equipped with the right tools for global acquisition of foreign investment capital. So that is something that is part of the business environment DNA. We then selected a balance of economic criteria to reflect a typical manufacturing environment among the 17 countries that we have analyzed. And as you can see, we've taken out the country names because that's not really relevant. What we would like to show you is the shifting pattern of what makes a business environment suitable for a certain type of investment, and what you can do as a location to shape your business environment in such a way that it becomes the most effective environment for a certain type of investment. In contrast to many of the rankings that are available globally about competitiveness, about doing business, our technology is more about the suitability than the competitiveness of a certain location. So if we talk about manufacturing activities among these 17 countries, you see that, for instance, country G is extraordinarily well equipped for manufacturing activities, and country N apparently is absolutely not focused at attracting any manufacturing capital or activities. And that just means that this shows that when you are country G, you will most likely focus on developing your manufacturing capabilities. When you are a country of the profile type country M or country N, most likely you are not so interested in economic activities and manufacturing, you do other type of things. Now let's look at the shift that we see happening, as I said, initially going from a typical manufacturing environment where we started maybe 10 years ago to a mixed environment of services and knowledge economy. And here you clearly see the situation we have today, where you see a number of leading countries that are very well equipped and highly performant. And so you see country A, B, C, and D. These are clearly the leaders in the space of the services and knowledge economy. You can see, by the way, in terms of the footprint of these environments, the dramatic shift in characteristics coming from manufacturing, and the same countries then measured against their capability to be successful as a services and knowledge economy. And when you know as an individual country or as an individual economy how this business environment DNA works for you, again you are much better positioned to use, for instance, internet technology to do matching between investment capital and your location, and also you can much better target acquisition and marketing activities. Now we said there are two shifts that are happening. And one of the things, by the way, that we saw in the data is if you look at a country like the United Arab Emirates, how effective it is preparing itself for the transformation to the global environment, which is dominated by global talent supply and which is dominated by the knowledge economy. So all you see is that the economic policies, the investment priorities are focused at creating an attractive and effective environment to make sure that they are well equipped to deal with the knowledge economy and the service economy. And we said the second shift is going from the situation where we typically are today, a knowledge and services DNA, and let's see how that works if we work on the basis of the assumption that the next wave of foreign direct investment change is going to be driven by global talent supply. So we've selected a different set of economic criteria, we selected a different set of priorities of these economic criteria, and then we calculated the result in terms of how these countries are suitable for that type of investment. And what you see, which we found is very interesting, is that it changes the competitive landscape significantly. So you see much more locations which are now in the midfield. There are no, if you like, 4 or 5 locations clearly leading this field or dominating this field. And a lot of the economies which were previously, if you like, less suitable for the knowledge and services economy certainly have a very good chance to be very well equipped to make it into the talent-driven environment. And that is an area where, for instance, if you look at Saudi Arabia, when we visited the country presentations, and like I said, the Emirates, I mentioned that already earlier, you can clearly see that the investment priorities and the capital that they're trying to apply and attract and the capabilities that they're developing as an economy positions them very well to lead, if you like, the transformation to the knowledge economy and global talent supply. And that brings me to 2 conclusions. We believe that the concept of the business environment DNA is a very effective concept to do online matching between the kind of characteristics an investor is looking for and the suitability of an environment to be a productive environment, a profitable environment, a sustainable environment for your future investment. And that means that you can use your business environment DNA to connect with investment partners that match best for your strategic objectives. The second conclusion is that you can use the evolution of your business environment DNA to create, just like I mentioned Saudi Arabia is doing, just like I mentioned the United Arab Emirates are doing, to evolve your business environment DNA in such a way that you can become the aspired economic activity and environment that is most productive for foreign investors. Now imagine that, back to our analogy of love at first sight, if you don't want to depend on the luck of finding the person you love for the rest of your life, and you apply that in business, then using the concept of a business environment DNA allows you to do matching using internet potential and internet technology. And that means that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, your economic characteristics are ready and set up to be matched with the right investment. Our platform is now running for about 18 months, globalarena.com. We are already the leading platform for foreign investment matching, and we expect, looking at our current growth rate of about 10% per week, that by mid this year we'll have around 1,000 companies every day looking at comparing allocation capabilities on a global scale. And that leads us to the comfortable conclusion that online matching using your business environment DNA is the most effective and the most suitable way to develop your future economy and your future economic footprint. And with that, and with the help of our sponsors and partners, Credit Suisse and PricewaterhouseCoopers, I'd like to thank you for your